Purchase your
never
tracks
perpetrate.
today.
Libra scale the weight. I ignore the hate. Big money for the grill. That's the expense to take.
What's going on, everybody? It's After Hours Live from the Man Cave. It's your host, Tae Wiggs. I got somebody in the building, something different this time. Let people know who you are.
Man, I'm Steve the Finance guy, better known as Steve Lott for people who know me from Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland Heights, all that great stuff.
All right. So you're the finance guy. What made you jump into this situation of doing finances?
Man, I kind of stumbled upon it, man, to be honest. So when I was I moved up to Atlanta, Georgia in 2008, and I was training basketball athletes. I know a lot of people didn't know me for like playing basketball or anything like that, but I loved it. And so I was really good at, training and stuff like that. And so what I realized, I got into a really affluent clientele base. So I was really training like kids that were, their parents' average household was like $350,000 and up, right? It was insane how I got in it. And then so what I realized I was going in it, man, I was just opening my eyes, seeing what everything it was doing. And so kind of how I really got into it was I was losing a lot of money during times when I was supposed to make money. So in the summertime, right? So in the summertime typically would be a trainer's peak for, for being able to make a lot of money. But I was losing it because my clientele was on vacation for months at a time.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? What are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? To be on vacation. I mean, because you know how we grew up. Our parents had no vacation for no, for no months. You know what I'm saying? Lake houses, all this other stuff. And so I'm like, what are y'all doing? And so what I got to meet a lot of parents and develop relationships, and the majority of them was in finance, right? And so they pretty much said, Steve, listen, if you have a great personality, and basketball or training or sports training is just, it has a ceiling to it. And then so, I took that advice. And then so, but I was just doing so well, man. I was doing so well training, and I was meeting so many different people and being in meetings and stuff like that. What really got me to really take on that advice was when I was in a particular meeting, when we was in like doing some politics and stuff like downtown. And so I was shaking hands with almost anybody you could think of. And so I can only go, what I realized when I was shaking hands with people, that my conversations only went so far.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that really, really bothered me, right? Because unless you had a kid who played basketball, I really didn't add too much value, right? I was cool. Everybody loved me, but I didn't add that much value. You know what I'm saying? And so I really took on going through that experience and then taking on that advice. I was like, man, I'm about to go back to school and get my finance degree. You know what I'm saying? And now I can add value to anybody.
Now, you go back to school, get your finance degree. How far did it take you, like, to open up different doors? Like, the thing me and you talked about is the average Black household is in debt, and they want to try to clean that debt up. Now, for you being a finance guy, how would you want those people or those families to clean their debt up?
Man, so being in school, man, one of the things that I realized was that I learned a lot of information. You know what I'm saying? I learned a lot, and I went to Georgia State, which is like one of the best business schools in the country. You know what I'm saying? And so I learned that one of the things I learned is that people didn't go through my experience. You know what I'm saying? I studied abroad in Dubai for 2 months. You know what I'm saying? I studied abroad in Paris. You know what I'm saying? To learn international finance for another 2 months. So these are experiences that I went through that just like you said, the average income household have no clue about. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's really about getting information. You know what I'm saying? And so being able to find someone who you trust, right, who has made it, and then be able to say, hey, can I get that information? And that's what I hope to be for people, to be able to give them the information that I've obtained, for sure.
Right.
It's just information, bro. That's it.
So like, since you financing and stuff like that, the first thing people do when they find out they have no credit. So no credit is like having bad credit. And
Same thing.
And the first thing people do is, I ain't got no bad credit. I remember when I first bought my Monte Carlo. We were different places trying to get a car, right? So I'm with the JD Buy Rider. The man was like, "Oh, your credit score is 400." I'm like, "This man, sweet," because you know everybody here 100 is perfect. I'm hearing 400. At that time I was what 20, 21. I hear 400. I'm like, "Oh man, that's cool. That's sweet." So the guy, he's like, "What type of car you want?" I said, "I want this Monte Carlo right here." He said, "Nah, I don't think you can get that." He said, "You can get this Lumina." I said, "No, man, but a Monte Carlo with 4 doors. I want a 2-door car." So as go on, he showed me this Dodge Neon. He said, "This is you right here." I looked at him just like this, like, man, I'm not about to sit in a Ninja Turtle car, first and foremost.
Ninja
Turtle. The crazy thing is, though, Steve, he never asked me, did I have any money to put down? That was the big mistake he made right there. Because at that time, when I was looking for a car, I had $2,000 cash in my pocket. He never asked me. He only judged me because how I was dressed. So, so I left. Now remember, I went to JD Buy Rider. This is a black car salesman. That's the first. So he already told me I had bad credit. He ran my credit score. I said, I'm gonna give it a couple days. I'm gonna look. So at the time, my girlfriend at the time is my wife. So me and Ariane, we went to Serpentini and Strongsville. They ran my credit. Of course, he was a Caucasian male. He ran my credit. Like, well, you got a 400 credit score. It's kind of bad. He said, "What type of car are you looking for? And how much money are you willing to pay to put down on it?" I said, "Okay, cool." I mean, my head's all right. That's how you conduct business as a winner. He said, "Well, if you want to build some credit, you got to put some money down." I was all right, cool. He was like, "Let's go look at the cars you want." So we looked at a couple of cars. I looked at a Jimmy truck. It was tan. I was like, "Nah, I don't like that." He said, "Hey, I got this Monte Carlo. We trying to get off the lot. It was red." I was like, "All right, cool. It's my favorite color." He said, "How much you willing to put down?" I said, "I got $2,000 cash." He said, that's good. So he put down. I put down the cash. Next thing you know, we go through the paperwork. I got my car, and ever since that day forward, my credit score, I paid that car off within three and a half years. It's supposed to be paid off in 5. I paid off for 3.5 years. Once that came through, man, I started getting all these type of credit cards and stuff like that. The biggest thing people do is they use their credit cards to clean up their other debt, which is it's the wrong thing to do. You can't use a credit card to clean up another credit card because all you do is put that credit card into debt. It's gonna be hard to get out of. So me and my wife, we only got 3 major credit cards. We got a credit card that we only use for emergencies, and the other one is miscellaneous stuff. We just put that up. But long story short is, once I paid off on that car and got another car, I'm on my 3rd car now. My credit score is good. My credit score like 725, something like that.
Yeah, solid. Yeah.
It's pretty good. So the whole thing is, anytime I get something like a bill or something, I pay it off. But to the people who don't know how to pay those bills off, how you do your monthly bill to gain points, because people are always trying to meet that.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is the biggest thing I see people make is people don't try to get credit until they need credit. Right. You know what I'm saying? So then because they need credit, now they have a date that they want to put on it. And so the process is rushed. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a priority. You know what I'm saying? To your point in your story, you built it organically, right?
Right.
Got a car, bought it, paid it off. Because credit is all about associated risk. Yeah. You know, that's all credit is, right? Risk assessment for banks. So credit gives you an opportunity for banks because you want something from the bank, which is money, right? Whether it's a loan, whether it's a refinance, whether it's a house, whether it's a car, right? Because you don't have all the money up front. You want the banks to lend you money. Credit is a form for the banks to see your history. You know what I'm saying? And see what you've done in the history so they can assess risk. You know what I'm saying? And so the problem is that what a lot of people face is that once we decide we want to buy a home, right, and we get denied, or once we decide we need a loan and we get denied, then I get a phone call, right, and they say, "Yo, I want to fix my credit, right? I want to help my credit." So to your point, I think you just have to decide that I want good credit, right? And you want to start that journey of paying things on time, not missing any late payments, because that's a big thing, right? Because I know a lot of us, when we don't care about our credit score or we don't use it, we really don't care about late payments. You know what I'm saying? We'll say, "All right, well, I missed it. I pay it back again." You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I mean? I'll pay it. But late payments is 30% of the wheel that affects your credit score. So that's huge. You know what I'm saying? It's like monumental of being able to pay things on time, because again, it's risk assessment. What does that tell the banks? If you're not going to pay them on time, you probably not gonna pay me on time.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's basic. So I break things down to where it's just understanding, you know what I'm saying, common sense, to where you have to be able to build a sense of history, right? To be able to show, you know what I mean, banks that, that you are trustworthy, which is everything. It's just credit worthiness. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now I was watching one of your videos that you had up. You know how they say that a payment is due on the 15th. I think you said so. You
Yeah,
don't pay it on that 15th, because if you pay on the 15th, it's really late. So you want to pay, like you said, like 3 or 4 days prior till to that date, because you can actually gain points. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I have paid some things on that date, and I'm like, hey, you know what I'm saying? And it don't move. I didn't know until you posted on your video on your blog. I'm like, all right, if I pay it, if my bill on this every month that's on that 30-day cycle is on the 15th, I can always pay it within the 4 or 5 days, because I think the average American who don't have a financial person or somebody can talk to as advisory don't know that. A lot of people actually either pay it on that day or the day after.
Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. It's impossible, right? Nobody knows that. Because here's how it works. The credit card companies report they have a mandatory report date to where they have to report what the balance is to the bureaus, so the bureaus can act upon it. You know what I'm saying? But that has nothing to do with when your bill is due. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what you have to do is, what happens is, we just pay it on auto pay, just like regular people, when the bill is due. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? We spend it. So we thinking we being responsible, but we not fully taking advantage of the opportunity in front of us. For instance, like whenever I pay someone's credit, right? Or I'm looking at it, or I'm doing some kind of consultation with somebody, or just anything. I'm saying they're looking at it, and so I say, hey, you got to pay this balance down, right? That's one of the things that's hurting your credit. And the first thing they'll tell me is, I already paid that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what happens is it doesn't reflect, right, on the report, because by the time the credit card companies reported it, it was the balance. You know what I'm saying? It was that balance, and you paid it later on the due date. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what you got to do is find out what people got to do. We got to find out when that report date is and pay it a few days before it ends. So that way, when it reports to the bureaus, it has that accurate balance on there. You know what I'm saying? And then now your debt to income ratio isn't affected. You know what I'm saying? Credit usage and all that stuff.
Right.
You know, it's huge.
You make those payments. How do the score? Like, people want to figure out, like, how do their credit score moves up? I tell people all the time, it don't move up within that after you pay it within a month. It might take a couple of months.
Yeah.
It depends. What are you spending? And how are you using it? Like, I always, like, for instance, when I first got my first credit card, I think the dumbest thing I did, I used the whole thing up. And my wife was like, hey, you don't use the whole credit card like that. So what you want to do is you want to spend half. Don't spend the whole thing. Like, you're trying to let them know that you can use half and save half and still make the payment on time. So I did that like a couple of times. Now, once I stopped doing that and started taking her advice and doing that way, my credit score started moving up. It started inching up. So now I got to where I don't even use that credit card unless, hey, I got a flat tire. Use that for a flat tire. Get that fixed. What's that about? Get a flat tire fixed can be between $80 and $100. So all right, cool. I can get that. When I get paid, I can pay it off on that card and I'm done with it. So a lot of people just use their credit cards for the wrong things. I always thought you should just use it for emergencies and stuff like that.
So it all depends. So I'm gonna tell you something. So I have an opposite view when it comes to emergencies and credit cards when it comes to regular people, right? Because when you use credit cards for emergencies, a lot of times you don't have the money to pay it back. You know what I'm saying? And so what you want to use it, what I like to use it for is, I tell people, I don't care if you max it out. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if you spend the whole thing, spend it over and over again. And because the reason why I say that, as long as you can pay it on time by that report date,
okay,
right? That's just the consistency the banks want. They want you to use the money because you got to think, you're in a relationship with the bank. You know what I'm saying? So every time you max it out and say, hey, my limit is 300. I spent 300, paid it off. Spend 300, paid it off. You can do that 10 times in a month. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, to be honest, spend 300, pay it off, whatever. What that's showing the bank is, man,
That's showing good
uh,
faith.
he need more money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? If he's spending 300 and paying off, so 9 times out of 10, they're gonna give you more money. You know what I'm saying? They're
Right.
gonna shoot that limit up. You know what I'm saying? So as long as you can show consistency, because that's all it's about, right?
Mhm.
Consistency. If you can keep those limits to under, I like to say 10%, but anywhere between 10 and 30%, you know what I'm saying, of the credit limit, then you're absolutely good. The only reason I caution people in saving credit cards for emergencies, now obviously it's a little different when you have income coming in, steady income, and
Right.
you can marry that emergency with your next check, right? You know what I mean? You can do that. A lot of people, when they save it for emergencies, they're usually spending it because they don't have it. You know what I'm saying? And so what I always say is spend it on your everyday things,
Right.
right? If you're gonna get gas, spend your credit card on gas. If you're gonna get groceries, spend it on groceries. Because a lot of times there are reward points that come with using it every single time, right? And then you use your debit card to connect to your credit card. And so you use your credit card to pay for everything that you normally pay for, and use your debit card. As long as the money's in there, use your debit card to pay off the credit card. And it's a big game, man. It's a big circle, and all you're doing is showing the banks that you know how to manage these funds. You know what I'm saying? And you know how to do it. And once you do that, they're going to increase it and increase it, increase it, bro. And I'm telling you, man, you talking to somebody who got like $50,000 worth of in one card. I got American Platinum cards, American Express, Delta Sky Miles cards. You know what I'm saying? And it's all because I just keep spending and spending and spending, but I keep paying it off, paying it
Right.
off, paying it off.
Now
So I
listen.
developed a relationship.
Now, when is too many credit cards is too many credit cards.
When you can't, when you don't know what the hell's going on. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I see some people like, I work retail and now people come in the store and the thing I always see, which credit card we get the most money, or they a swipe. You trying to tell them the polite way, hey, your card is not reading. That's my way to them, hey, it's being denied.
Right, right,
So
right, right.
because it's holiday season, everybody getting happy with money spending. So this particular customer come to the store, she probably had about 8 or 9 credit cards. She was getting mad at me. I was like, hey, ma'am, your card
It ain't working,
is
right?
not working. Can you get another card you want to use? So what do you mean not working? I said, I'm being polite. I don't want to say it out loud for the customers. The card is being denied. So all right, cool. She's scanning no, denied. Scanning another, denied. Her husband on that. She scanned about 6 credit cards. And he scanned about 4 or 5. And they all denied.
It's crazy.
So the crazy thing is, once that's all said and done, they went through all those credit cards, and the husband still put on a wallet cash. So I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
kind of me thinking, like, yo, it's kind of backwards, right? You got all this, you carrying all this cash, you could at least pay off at least 2 credit cards how much money he pulled out. But the average American not thinking like that. Hey, I got cash in my pocket just for on hand. They just want to swipe and go. Because a lot of people know, like you just said, you reiterate what you just said. A lot of people use their credit cards for reward points. Like I work for Dick's Sporting Goods. If you open up an account with us, if you get approved, we don't tell you how much you get approved for because we don't know. Once you open an account with us, you get back $4 cash back. You don't get no interest rate for the next 12 months. And a lot of people take during the holiday and sign up for that. And they use that credit card like, hey, I got to pay no interest for 12 months. And they be asking, when's the best time to pay? I'll say, look, if you ain't got no interest, try to pay it off when you can, as long as it's not with after a year, because once that year comes, Dick's Sporting Goods got high interest rates.
Right, 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 right.
People buy big stuff. We don't sell guns anymore, but we sell kayaks
That's
and
so every, yeah, yeah, exactly.
sell a bunch of stuff. So it's weird. I see people just get their cars declined and stuff like that. I never had that happen to me before because I'm pretty much showing good faith that I can pay off a car. And going forward, I see you got your shirt on, Steve, the finance guy.
Yeah, yeah, straight up.
Now, do you do any seminars? Do you travel from city to city? Do other things for the finance?
Man, nonstop, bro. My goal. So I'm in school to get my MBA. because I ultimately want to teach. So being in a consultant space is exactly where I am now, but it's really where I want to end up, right? Um, I realize I have influence, and whatever information I have to give, I want to make sure people receive it and they hear it right, because I can just explain things well. So what I'm thinking is, um, and to your point, man, I think finance, and I appreciate this conversation because finance is one of those things where people just don't talk about it.
Right.
It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up talking about it.
No, we
My
never talk
friends
about
didn't
it.
grow
We
up
just
talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like we kind of live our lives and we kind of go through our marriages and we go through our individual lives. We kind of live, right?
right.
I don't think nobody ever mentioned credit to me ever. You know what I'm saying? Like from growing up, and it may have went around me, but it didn't stick. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's time, you know what I'm saying, that we tell each other's business. You know what I'm saying? That we talk about finance. That was the biggest thing, bro. When I was around those affluent people, the biggest difference, I kid you not, is the conversations around personal finance, right?
Right.
The jokes around, man, I got that car for 7.7 and they cracking up 7.7 interest rate. What? You an idiot.
Right.
What's the name? You can get that same car for 3.3. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like talk about how much your mortgage is. Like nobody talks about how much that they pay for their mortgage. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like these are regular conversations. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens is when you don't know something, you just kind of hold on to it, right? And you
Exactly.
think you're doing something right, or you don't know if you're doing something wrong. And so we have to utilize each other's experiences to learn from it, you know what I mean, and be able to help each other, especially in the world of finance, because
Right.
it's so like coveted, you know what I mean? Like we don't want people to know how much we make at our jobs. You know what I'm saying? We don't want people to know how much our bills is. We don't want people to know. And I'm like, yo, I'm telling it all. This is what I make. This is what I do. This is how you can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let's get it. You know what
Like
I'm saying?
like the one thing I know, we was in high school. We didn't have. I don't think we had a business class, but they want to talk about, like you said, they want to talk about finances. They want to talk
Bro,
about
I don't even remember the business class. I remember we had one. I don't even remember one thing in it.
like they never said about, hey, this is your interest rate. This is what the APR is, right?
Not,
So the one thing, like you said, we both from Cleveland Heights. Right now, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Talking to the high school kids around here, right? They have
mm-hmm.
to take a finance class in order to graduate high school. So they
It's
prepare,
good.
they want kids that's pretty much already like elementary or going into middle school. They want those children to at least have a bank card so they can see where their money is going, how they can shape them. So right now, my daughter's like, "Can I get a credit card?" I was like, "A credit card?" I said, "Hey, we're gonna take these by baby steps. We can take you to the bank. She already got a bank account. She got a college fund." I said, "What we can do is we can set you up. We get a bank card and see how you perform on that bank card. It's money on the card, but you can't lose it." So I'm pretty shocked that she actually asked me that, because now, like you said, you talk about a 9-year-old. These kids are a little bit more advanced than what they're doing. They're using tablets, phones. We had none of that stuff. We ain't had no tablet or no iPhones. We just went outside. We played from sun up to sundown. These kids are
Yeah.
pretty much computer savvy, and it's so weird because watching the high schooler kids coming into the stores now with their credit card, with their own cards, not their parents' cards, with their own cards.
Yeah.
Have to use so much money within a month. We have to report this back to our teacher. So that's huge. It's
Hmm.
teaching to be responsible, because America is in so much debt, not with other countries as well too.
For sure. I mean, because we learn. I mean, and I can't blame anybody. But I just realized how we learned, right? We learn through trial and error. You know what I mean? So we learn through looking at everybody else and what they're doing, right? And if something new came up, then everybody did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things when you hear something, then everybody gonna do it. If
Right.
you like, I mean, we grew up in a town where if you had a Lincoln Electric job or a Stover's job or a post office job, you was put on.
You
You
made
know what I'm saying?
it.
You made it. You made it in life. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, and don't let you get it early at
Yeah,
19,
yeah.
20, 21.
You're really balling now. The first thing somebody
You
gonna say,
really,
"Oh,
you know what I mean? So those are one of the things that it's just a mindset, man, that you and I know people still there and it's still there. The mindset is, still there, that just to work in and not understanding how to leverage, you know what I mean, and create relationships with the bank. You know what I'm saying? And that's really the biggest thing because they want the relationship because they're going to get interest. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show you on this. They're gonna give me this. We're good. And as far as the bank is concerned, we can do as many deals as you want. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna make the interest off of it, which is cool because everybody wins. You know what I'm saying?
Now, before we get off here, everybody has a pet peeve. Since you're doing the finance thing, what is your pet peeve to people about finances? Like your one pet peeve that you really thrive on. People eat it up.
Okay. Um, so this kind of mirrored to how I grew up specifically. I
Mhm.
grew up in church, right? And so we
Me as
would
well.
you know that, right? You know, what I mean, you know. So we would count our cars as blessings. You know what I'm saying? Like so basically to your point, right? If we got a bad credit score, we would go, you know what I mean, you know, they'll testify, they'll get up and they'll say, all right, I went to this car lot, they denied me. I went to another car lot, they denied me. I went to another one, they denied me. I finally got to one and they said, yes, I'll give you a car, right? And God blessed me with the car. I said, God, I give you that car. God. That's that's borderline illegal what the banks did with you. That's called predatory lending. You know what I'm saying? And so what happens is predatory lending says, hey, I'm gonna give you a car with like a 25% interest rate. You know what I'm saying? Based off your score. And so where we look at the physical asset, you know what I'm saying, as the prized possession, they look at the long-term deal, like, you know what I mean? And so when you think you paid $12,000 for the car with a 25% interest rate, you really paid close to like 32 in 5 years, which is insane.
Yeah,
You know what
I'm
I'm saying?
saying.
Like it doesn't even
I
like
rock.
if we do that time and time and time and time again, because we don't understand where we are, our position, and what we do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so and I don't want to say pet peeve because it's just lack of information.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I don't, but when I hear it, I cringe. I'm like, it's not a blessing.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
I just get this credit card, but to people like, like, yo, what's your interest rate? They like, yo, I got 25 APR interest. Like, dang, that's a lot. But to them, it sounds good.
And I can't, like I said, I don't blame nobody, man, because I remember, so I briefly moved back to Cleveland in 2010 for like a year, just to
Right.
kind of get myself back together or whatever. And I remember I got a job at Palmerdale, which was like a residential facility at the
Yeah.
time. I don't think it's there anymore. But, and I remember this moment. I got a BMW truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like an old 03 or something like that, right? You couldn't tell me nothing, right?
Right.
X5, and I remember the payment being 350, and the car was like 8,000 something like that. I got it from Car Club, and I remember the interest. The lady sat me down. You know when you buy a car and you go see the finance
Oh
manager
yeah.
back
All that
right where
paperwork.
you do. She sat me down and she like gave me this long speech about like, listen, I know the interest rate is high. I know that. I remember it like it was yesterday, right? I know the
Right.
interest is high. I know it's just, you can refinance out, but it's the only way you'll be approved for this car. Don't be upset. Da da da. And when I tell you, bro, it was like a 25.9 interest rate, right?
Mhm.
I swear to God, it was crazy. But when I tell you, I didn't hear none of it.
No,
Give me
you
my
didn't get
car.
car. Right. So I was. I don't hear none of that. You
Listen,
just
it
sign
didn't even
here and we roll.
say, it didn't even go through. It didn't even register.
Right.
Give me how much the payment? 350. Cool. I got
Cool.
that. I got that. It's easy. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. I think I was making like 12, 13, $14 an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm with overtime.
Right.
350 more easy. Right. So I think so I'm constantly reminded of that. And I want to make sure that I let you know that I was there and I completely understand. So now, you ain't talking to just some oblivious person. You know what I mean? Let me help you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Let's get this right. Whatever you did, it's whatever you did in the past. Let's get this right
Right.
with new information. You know what I'm saying?
But, I ain't gonna hold you up much longer. As I say,
No, man, you all right?
The older we get wiser. You know what I'm saying? You just learn different things. Like my whole thing about finances, I watch my parents. Okay,
Uh-huh.
they're not doing this right. Let me do it my way. I'm gonna put my
Right.
own twist on it. So once I figure out that my parents can do it a certain way, I know there's a way I can do it better than them because your parents is pretty much the best teacher. You can watch their mistakes and you can learn from the mistakes. I was like, they doing that wrong. I said, no, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna go my route.
Yeah, straight up.
Let me tell you this. Nobody never knew this. Nobody in high school, I kept a journal in my book bag.
Uh-huh.
Like a real live journal. I wrote where I wanted to be by the time I turned 25.
Uh-huh.
I said I was gonna be moved out of town by the age of 25. I knew I was gonna be married with kids. I knew I wanted to own my own house. I'm in high school thinking like this, and like I had that
that's
my sophomore year.
good. I wouldn't think about none of that.
So the whole thing is, I had other stuff that said, hey, look, I want this girl, that girl, is she still available? And as well, I want to go to the NBA. And had to think realistically. Once I got to my senior year, then made the team. I said, I'll start scratching stuff off. The stuff that was still realistic, possible was have my own car, my own family, and all this stuff. That stuff is still possible. And right to this day, I still have that same journal. Still checking stuff off. Now the whole thing is now, since I've been here, I checked it off. Next move is I want to move to another city. That's still on my list. I had a podcast when I do sports. I do that. I met different athletes. I talked to different agents about where I should be, how they want me to present myself. I've been doing that. So the whole thing is, like you said about finance, you can put that in your finances too, because family costs, all the stuff, mortgage,
Right.
that's all part of your finances. If you don't have that straight, you cannot survive. So the whole thing is now, my limit of spending shoes is different. Yes, I work with a place that's I get discounted shoes, but at the same time, I don't buy like how I used to. I put money to the side, go on vacation. I mean, I had every pair, this and that. The whole thing is I'm putting my children up for their future, so they don't have to go through the same process I'm going through. The whole thing is I want them to be better than I was.
Absolutely. No, I think you hit it spot on, man. And like I said, kudos to you, bro. I think I'm sure you got time to look at that book and reflect, man, because that's crazy. I mean, that you was able to accomplish, all the things that you set out to do, especially at a young age, to be able to know those things. I envy stuff like that, man, because it took me I had to go all the way around, you know what I'm saying, to finally figure it out. But I like that because it lets people know that we all can do what we want to do, and we all got different paths and journeys, you know what I'm saying? And so all of our journeys, if it was all the same, we wouldn't be able to help nobody, right? Because everybody under us is going to have different paths and journeys. And so your path is going to help somebody else. Hopefully mine's help somebody else. And so it just lets me realize and confirm that we don't necessarily live our lives for ourselves.
No,
we live them for our kids and other people. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. Anything you need, bro.
It's crazy I did that because my father told me that. He told me think realistic. He's all right, son. You've been cut from the basketball team 3 times. You're going to your senior year.
We had a stacked team though, man.
Yeah, we had a stacked team, but he was like, so you got to be realistic. Where you want to be? My father did it go now for almost 5 or 6 years now. Always say you always supposed to have a backup plan. Never get too comfortable at one job. Be prepared for the worst. A lot of people are not prepared for the worst because the only thing they do is thinking ahead. Like there's nothing wrong with thinking ahead. I'll always just take my time. I write stuff down. I take notes. I'm a big note taker.
So am I. Yeah, for sure.
So if we in a meeting, I might be the only person. People might be, you doing that same like nothing, man. I'm not telling people what I'm doing because then they won't do it. I wait till we get done. What you doing? I was taking notes, man. I take notes because what you probably misheard or didn't hear, I got it for the person next time. I got this. Here you go. But I'll always take notes. Like I'm big on notes. Like right now, you talking. I'm sitting here writing notes down pretty much as well too on my phone. So I'm a huge note taker. The whole thing is trying to get better and help out the next person. That's what we need to do. Help out the next person. Like, what people don't know, you got an Instagram, Twitter handle that people can reach you at, Steve?
Yeah, man. Steve the finance guy, man. That's that one seemed to stick, so I'm gonna stick with it. You know what I'm saying? So
Pretty good, man. When I first hit you up, man, I don't think Steve gonna hit back, man. I don't know, because some people in their ways when you go to school, like you like, yo, hit me up or call me back. People never call you back because the whole thing is I do sports, but the whole thing is too I want to do other stuff to help people out. The whole thing is if I get put on, I can put you on. The whole thing is just spreading wealth and knowledge to other people. I just don't do. Everybody talk, like you said, everybody talk business at one point in time throughout the day. You can't do sports forever. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing is to make sure everybody is set up for the long term and longevity for their children and their family down the stretch. So, like
absolutely,
I said,
man.
I appreciate you.
No, man, it's my pleasure, bro, to be able to take some time out and get you, bro. We grew up together. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't even. It is. This is easy. You know what I'm saying? No matter what I'm doing, so we can. I'm just glad I was able to make it work. I'm out of town, so it actually worked perfectly. I'm less busy when I go out of town, so we good.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Steve, man. Like I said, that's Steve the finance guy, man. On Instagram. Hey,
So
loving this, man. Appreciate you for coming on.
What you need? Hit me up.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro. It's all love. Peace.